Real talk, raw truth, raging hearts. Welcome to From the Minds of Raging Brats. Like, share, and subscribe.
Hi, welcome to From the Minds of Raging Brats. This is Heather.
And I'm Ashley.
And sorry about the delay. We had technical difficulties repeatedly on this episode. I'm not quite sure what the flippity flop, but here we are. And so we're back again with anxious attachment, even though you guys didn't see the first time. Oh, so how was your week?
It somehow has been one of the worst weeks I've had in a long time, but it is also exactly what I've needed. I have hit the peaks of my anger and my depression. I have had somebody come back in my life that should have known to stay the fuck out. But through all of that, I am using my coping skills, and through all of it, I am having constant reminders of, look how far you've come, because 5 years ago you would have been screaming, you would have been swinging at people, they definitely need bail, or I would have just fucking lost it and self-destructed in the worst possible ways, and I've done none of it. It's a little irksome because I'm not used to not doing these things, but it feels good to have the control not to do them.
It's growth.
Yes. Uncomfortable growth, but growth.
I too have had an uncomfortable week. Actually, because of technical difficulties, I can actually include it. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been in this episode. But the teenager tried to run away, went off on me, told me I thought he was a burden. He just wanted to die. Yeah. And let me tell you, I slipped a little. I probably didn't say things in the most nicest way to him that night. I didn't say anything wrong, but I didn't say things in the nicest way. And then he took them in a way different way than they were supposed to be taken. And it was a bit of a pain in the fucking ass. But I think that he ultimately is going to get to either shift his attitude here at home and have a different perspective, like his therapist talked to him about, or he's going to end up going into temporary youth housing, but with a lot more structure.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not structured. I'm a lot more lenient than and forgiving than they're going to be.
Yeah. Either way, I think it'll be a good lesson for him.
Yeah. It's something that he needs to experience, and honestly, Bear is very much a good example of anxious attachment. Because actually, he has a mix of disorganized and anxious, because he likes the push and pull of disorganized. He likes some people he likes to provoke just to push away for a little bit and then pull in closer again. But overall, in most of his relationships, he is very anxious attachment. It's like needing to sleep on the phone with his girlfriend. They're both asleep. Why do you need the fucking phone going?
Yeah.
But that's something that they need for their teenage brains nowadays, to not feel alone and scared at night. And I'm like, this is the weirdest shit I've ever heard of.
Yeah, definitely agree.
But at the same time, I'm like, I don't always fight that stuff, because I'm like, realistically, it's not going to cost me any extra on my phone bill. We have unlimited talk and text, and data. So, he's not going to run my phone bill up. He's going to have his phone plugged in overnight, but it's not going to run my power bill up any more than having his phone plugged in, not talking on it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and there are times when he chooses to break rules and not do things, and then he loses those privileges. and he just has to figure it out.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I don't see a need to pull all of his self-soothing tools away.
Yeah.
Because those are the things that helped me get to where I am today, finding the tools that worked for me. So do I understand them? No. Do I need to always? No. Nobody always understood my tools, and that was just fine with me.
Yeah.
I don't need you to understand. I just need it to work for me. Leave me alone.
Definitely understand that one. And I think a lot of attachment styles really do start to form in those teenage years, especially when they are going into their first romantic relationships and stuff like that. That's when you start to really see it.
Yeah, they say it forms in early childhood with dysregulation, which makes sense because in his early childhood there was domestic violence and separation, which I know is what fuels a lot of his anxious attachment with his dad, because he constantly feels like he's going to lose him, or I'm going to take him away, and to some extent there is that valid fear because there is that underlying court order where if certain things start getting out of hand with dad, then things have to change, and that scares Bear. But it shouldn't scare him. It should encourage him to connect more with his dad and spend quality time, healthy quality time, instead of being afraid that he's going to lose his dad. He should stop trying to manipulate his dad because that could cost him the relationship.
Yeah.
And instead think about, my actions could actually influence this relationship going to a really healthy place and flourishing.
Yes, but you're thinking about this logically with a fully formed frontal lobe that really understands how relationships work. To him, and I know I was the same way when I was a teenager, if I was really, really attached to somebody, but for some reason I thought they would leave or they'd be taken, I would start to act out towards this person because at least when they left or anything happened, then I had already started to build a distance with them because I thought it would hurt less when they did eventually leave. That's not the case. But again, non-fully formed frontal lobes.
Yeah, and I do totally understand that. Also, I'm coming from it, even though I have age, maturity, things like that on my side. I also am coming at it from a secure attachment, looking at it from where I'm at now. Yeah. And so it is a little different because I am definitely from an outsider looking in, which gives me a better perspective.
Yeah.
But by the same token, I remember how hard it was to listen to logic in those mentally ill state of mind, but it's so hard for me. It's so hard for me to see that spiral and be like, and knowing your kid is struggling with depression and you can't do anything to help it, but worse, they think you don't care.
Yeah.
It's a new one. It's definitely a new one on me. But we are digging into anxious attachments. And that is where your relationships, you always feel like you're too much or not enough. It typically starts, like we said, early childhood, and it typically comes because of conditional love, having to earn love from your caregivers, or unstable caregiving, instability in your early relationships, abuse, things like that in early childhood can really bring that out. I personally, the anxious attachment was my last attachment style before moving into secure.
Yeah.
I have been through all 4 attachment styles, like I've talked about in the other 2 episodes about the attachment styles. Ashley kind of floats between anxious and avoidance, so this is still kind of her bread and butter right now.
Yeah, it very much is like. And for any of our audience members that are wondering what their attachment style is, or they're wondering if maybe they're avoidant, the best example I can always give is if you're dating somebody and even if they told you that morning, hey, I'm going to have a really busy day, you're still checking your phone every 10 minutes. And even knowing that they told you they couldn't talk all day, you're still like, oh, what if they don't love me anymore? What if they're off cheating? That's why they needed it. What if, until you work yourself into a damn frenzy. And then by the time they message you at the end of the day, you're not even happy to hear from them. You're like, oh, now you can talk to me. Now you like blah, blah, and you can't even enjoy your time. Your thoughts are always going a million miles an hour. And like I said, like, this is specifically in my romantic life. I have this really bad, but yeah, I'll stress myself right the hell out if you're not obsessed. Like,
And the sad part is typically anxious attachment attracts avoidant attachment. And when anxious gets clingy, avoidant runs.
yeah.
And then anxious gets more anxious, thinking that they're running from you, which they are, but not because they're running to somebody else. They're just running the fuck away.
Yeah, and see, with me, like, I will start off really, really anxious, and if I feel my person pulling because of my trauma and my safety, like, triggers and stuff like that, I will switch immediately right into avoidant with them, and that becomes, we're just not gonna talk again, because by the time you feel secure enough to come talk to me, I'm done. You can get the fuck away from me, and I no longer have feelings to the point of, you're just another fucking person trying to annoy me.
Sorry, not sorry. You can go away now.
Yes, it is something I'm actively working on. I do realize it's not healthy, but yeah, I am very much. And it amuses me almost at this point of my life because all my other relationships in my life, I have very secure attachments. I do not need to hear from them all day. Like, I like to hear from them a couple times a week. Like, I want to hear their ideas, whether they are like mine or like not. I know if we have an argument, we're still going to be good, and I'm still going to come talk to you later. But add romantic or I want to fuck you in that, and that gets rid of all healthy attachments for me.
I do feel that because I still have to like check in with my therapist and with Rowan when I'm like gonna end things, like when I ended things with the ex before things got really restarted again this time, like having to check in and be like, here's all that's gone on, here's like the messages and stuff, like, are we sure that I'm ending this because I'm standing on my boundaries and not that I'm just cutting people off to be avoidant again? And no, they're like, tell me your reasons why you're ending this. And I'm like, well, like, my BPD is, it really struggles in a relationship if I don't hear from my partner like every day, a couple times a day, not just like once, like one hey, but like good morning and like good night. Like, I want to be the first and the last thought. That's all I'm saying. I don't have to be your every thought, but I want to be your first and your last, So that part. And then also, like, I am super big on communicating, being in the moment, like bringing depth. I forgot what I was saying. So let me just move on to something else. Going beyond basic, exploring layers, emotional regulation, why anxious partners can swing from clingy to explosive. Oh, we were just talking. That's what we were talking about. Because the avoidant is pulling back. But that triggers the anxious attachment to cling harder, which then triggers the avoidant to run harder.
Oh, yeah.
And then it becomes a very toxic cycle. what I don't think that they tell people enough is that once an anxious and an avoidant get into that toxic cycle, neither one of them are anxious or avoidant anymore. They're both disorganized. They both move immediately into disorganized because it's the push and pull and it's the explosive. They come together and the sex is great and the time during that intimacy, everything's great and everything's fine. And then the minute any fucking small inconvenience happens and boom, it's explosive again.
Yeah, and see, I think part of knowing these things can help because, like, though I do have anxious attachment styles in my romantic partners, and I'm avoidant, I know what pushes an avoidant person away because if somebody clings to me too fast, like, Heather's seen this, like, I'll send the wrong message one day and I'm like, uh-oh. No, they ain't gonna fucking worry. They like me too much. Time to run away, like, but I do actively work on, like, calming my anxieties down, telling them when I'm having, like, a day where I might be a little clingier because I don't want to make them feel how I feel when I go into avoidant mode. And even though I know my attachment styles aren't the healthiest, I am actively working on them. And triggering my shit isn't fun. Why would I do it to somebody else? Because a lot of avoidance, it's not like they're like, oh, let's play a game. Let's see how hard I can make them chase me. Like, don't get me wrong, some of them are. Definitely are. But then there are the ones that it's just like, no. Close feels like smothering. And I don't know how to make that not be that until I have time to myself and be like, they're not smothering you. They wanted to know if you were going to see them tomorrow.
Yeah, but that's not how it feels to an avoidant.
Yes, I know. Because, there's days like it would be something, hey, could I see you tomorrow? Let's grab coffee. And I'm like, why do you want to know everything about me and be in my life? Go away!
Well, and that's why I say I dip my toes into anxious and avoidant because, like, the BPD unfortunately does give me anxious traits, like needing that daily communication. And sometimes if I'm triggered, like if they trigger, like if I feel like they're lying to me, I'm pretty intuitive. So if I feel like you're lying to me about something, you are. It may be something tiny, but I know you're lying to me, so it's just best if you just tell me, and then we get it out of the way, and then everything will be fine. But if you lie to me, if you continue to lie to me when I'm like, I know there's something you're not telling me.
Yeah.
And if you continue to lie to me, and then I find out later, not only is the avoidant going to come up in a fucking hurry, because now I'm going to want to avoid you like the fucking plague. I want to get my shit and get the fuck away from you before I blow my fucking top. And then you find out where the disorganized attachment really lends in that kick to the domestic violence aspect of stuff. And being a survivor doesn't mean I can't at some point be an offender if you trigger me, because that's the real thing. My protective instincts take over, and I have hurt somebody before, not intentionally, but because my protective instincts took over. And luckily, the courts understood. The person came to court, told the courts that they provoked the situation, and when you threaten somebody's kids, they don't always see sanity at that point. But because I know what I'm capable of, I then lean into that avoidance when those kind of situations happen to. It's like, I know I'm a secure attachment person, but right now we really need this avoidance. So we're going to hold tight to that, and we're going to get the fuck out of Dodge. And then once we're calm, then we can see said person and tell them how we really feel. Or we can send a message, a text, an email, or something that we say our piece and be done.
Yeah. And I just want to throw it out there to our viewers, like, if you have multiple forms of attachment styles, there is nothing wrong with that. Actually, most people do and they don't even realize it. Like I was saying, I have super secure attachments in almost every other area of my life. I am firm on boundaries. I am firm on, you should go have your own fucking life so you ain't so worried about what I'm doing at mine in my private time. Like, really big on that. But, it's probably part of the BTBD, it's probably part of the trauma, but yeah, romantic relationships seem to be where my attachment styles go all over the place. And it could even depend on a person. Like, there's some people, I could love them to death, but I'm always going to be avoidant with them. I don't feel safe, I don't feel like I'm being heard, something about it makes me just, no, you're good over there. And then, like, you seen this a few weeks ago, I have certain people where I'm like, I want them to message me and be in contact with me constantly. Or I want them to leave me the fuck alone and never speak to me again, and I want them all at the same time. And you're like, crazy, it's a little hard for you today, huh? I'm like, yes!
Yeah.
Okay,
I say that for myself too.
Yeah.
Because it's not that I think that I'm crazy. It's not that I'm saying that. It's because I know that I am neurodivergent with mental illness, and knowing that when I'm triggered, I'm crazy in that moment. And that it is what it is. It's not that it's a permanent state of being that I'm just insane, lost my shit. No, like in this moment, flip the switch, crazy's here. Give me a little bit, it'll reset and rebalance, and we'll be back to regularly scheduled programming. But right now, don't try to ask me to be me. You're getting whatever version of me you triggered.
Yeah. Yeah, and
sometimes she's psycho. I just know it. I've seen her in action.
Yeah, like Heather knows, a few other people know. Like, I am not saying I have multiple personalities. I do not have DID, but I have basically two personas. I am Ashley. That is the name I was given. That is the name I go by. And then there's Bones. Bones is who I used to be, and she's a fucking crazy bitch, like, that I'm afraid of, but she's still part of me. But that was, I feel like, more like when on my every single attachment style was disorganized. There wasn't a healthy, good, on the level friendship or relationship or anything that I had back then. And frankly, at that point in my life, I didn't want it. I was happy in my toxicity.
Because it wasn't about connections, it was about survival.
Yeah, very much so.
That is another thing that I think people, like, one of the things that they talk about is the hyper awareness, like in anxious attachment style. But I feel like any attachment style except for secure, and I am going to say except for secure, because if you don't have the exceptions like PTSD or CPTSD like me or things like that give you also that hyper awareness, in secure attachment, I know lots of people that have never had trauma that have secure attachment. They don't notice shifts they can't read the room
at all, and they're always shocked when something happens and everybody else is like, how did you not see this coming?
Like, read the room, bro.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Yeah, no, it's very much that kind of feeling. But I feel like because all of the attachment styles that are created other than secure attachment are created in some kind of trauma or abuse.
Yeah.
It makes sense that you would need to, for survival's sake, your survival instincts would automatically make you hyper aware to make sure that you can survive the situation.
And if any of our viewers are like, well, I was abused and I have secure attachment, you might very well have it. But are you the type of person that can tell your partner's mood the second you walk in a room? Can you feel them shift into different areas of their thoughts without them saying anything? Can you tell if they've had a bad day? Like, these are all things we get from being abused. That, spatial awareness, you said it just a second ago. Hyper awareness, so like the things like that comes from abuse. Like, for me personally, I know I'm hyper aware about people's moods, and that's because at a very young age, it became my job to regulate several adults' emotions. So now I'm aware of everybody's emotions, sometimes more so than them themselves.
Yeah, I definitely feel that one. Another one that comes with anxious attachment style, but it also comes with the other two not so healthy attachment styles is the self-worth loops. Like, anxious attachment style, your self-worth loop is attached to your partner. Mm-hmm. Like, if they're talking to you, are they being nice? Are they treating you well? All those things, that if they are, you're good. You're golden. But if their mood's off, if there's weird communication, if they don't talk to you all day, even if it's because they're busy and they've already told you they're going to be busy, your self-worth goes immediately in the tank. I'm trash. I don't deserve them. They don't want me. They're out with somebody else. They moved on already. I'm just garbage. Like, that is how that works.
Oh, yeah.
And it's miserable.
Oh, yeah. Like, I remember when me and my ex were going through our breakup, I was definitely doing that. Like, if he, of all people, can't see my worth, I don't see my worth, I'm fucking worthless. I'm a bad person. Like, look at everything that happened through this relationship. And everybody around me was like, what the fuck, Ashley? If anybody else did that, you'd be like, yeah, suck my dick, bitch, and you wouldn't give a fuck. You give them a reason to think you're worthless. Like, but this one person, and I'm like, he's the only fucking opinion I care about right now. And everyone's like, baby, this ain't healthy. For you being the person that preaches run the second you can when you're dealing with this shit and have fought grown men to get women away from the exact situation you're in. How are you fucking talking to yourself like that? And I'm like, I don't know. Like,
don't know.
But like 6 years later, and a shit ton more therapy and shit, I honestly have the belief that if in a relationship anybody tried to do that shit again, I'd be like, I've men that literally beg to eat on a daily. Like, I may love you and I may care about your opinion, but you are not going to make me feel like less than I am.
Yeah. Sorry, not sorry. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm that way now. Like, I'm that way now. Even guys that I'm like talking to, if they back off, what you put in is what you get. You back off, and I may not notice it right away if I'm busy and got other shit in real life going on. But the minute I notice you've backed off from communication, I'm backing way the fuck off, and the next communication you get from me is when I hear from you. Like, I'm going to send the bare minimum, and then when you communicate, then I will communicate. And if you send the bare minimum in return, that's what you're getting from me then on out, baby. I am so far removed from who I used to be, which is so surprising to me. Because especially having just been in anxious attachment last year, like severely implanted.
Yes.
And even into this year, it surprises me how far removed I am now from that, to look back and go, I remember when if I didn't get a text in like 20 minutes, I was literally sitting like, I need to smoke another dab because I'm crying.
Yeah.
Because this is not healthy.
Yeah, I definitely remember those days. And I'd be like, Heather, we can't do this, baby girl. You're better than you. Like, you can shut the fuck up, or I'll start telling you what you're better than.
Let me have my pity party.
Like, all right, we can be sad for a minute.
But now I allow myself to have a pity party if that's what I want to do. It's just I only allow myself to have a pity party, not a pity life, not a pity week, not a pity month, just a fucking pity party. Throw it, have your emotions, get it the fuck out, be petty if you need to be petty, and then fucking move on.
Yeah, definitely agree with that one.
I mean, because I think that's what people get confused is like, I think people think, especially when it comes to mental illness, like, I think they think that there's like, and I was one of them, and I know you've talked about being one of them. There's like this switch that, like, when you go to therapy, like, better.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't happen, you're like, what?
Oh, I was
The
pissed.
fuck?
After 3 months, the first time I went to therapy willingly, 3 months later, I'm like, what do you mean I'm not better yet? What do you mean I don't have any more control than I did? Like, I'm actually trying this time. I understand why I failed last time, but what the fuck? And my counselor's like, well, you're about to reach your first hurdle. Therapy doesn't fix everything, and it doesn't fix it fast if that's what you're wanting. I'm like, what? She's like, the faster you just want to do all these steps so you're all better, and you think you're going to be perfectly healed and everything's going to be great? She's like, the longer you're going to be in this feeling right now. It's like, if I told you to fuck off this session, I feel like it's called for.
I feel like it's overdue.
But that's just part of the healing, man. Like, anybody that tells you that healing is this light, bright, great experience and it's going to make everything better so fast and blah, 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 they haven't gone through therapy. They are fake light, and they are usually selling something too. Just look in their bio. Just saying, like, anybody that does real therapy and real work knows it has to take a while so you can actually process.
Yeah, and it's hard work, and it's ugly, and it's messy, and anybody that tells you it's not is full of shit. There is no switch. There's a lot of nights where you're laying in cold sweats, hysterical in your bed after waking up screaming, and you don't even know why. There's plenty of days where you're going to be laying in the bottom of your bathtub because you don't want anybody to see your tears anymore, and you're tired of having swollen eyes, so you'd rather just let the fucking water wash it away and keep you from getting puffy at the same time.
Yeah.
No, it's hard. It's hard. But just because you have mental illness, you're neurodivergent, you have a unhealthy attachment style, there are so many ways that you can get to your goals of, you're never not going to be neurodivergent if you have ADHD, autism, whatever. Who cares? You can live a what they call a quote unquote normal life, and live a healthy life, if you put in the work. But here's the things. Everybody thinks that it's going to be a flip of the switch. There's no flip of the switch. Everybody thinks that you're going to go to therapy and magically the skeletons in your closet are going to disappear. That's not how that works. The skeletons in your closet, you have to drag them out one by one. Bring them to the light. Dust them off. Show the whole world, and then embrace that motherfucker. Because that's the only way to heal it, is to embrace it, because it's still part of you. Regardless of how ugly or beautiful it is, it's part of you. And until you learn to accept all of the parts of you, that's where you remain in the what people call quote unquote broken. I don't call that broken because none of us are truly broken. We all might be hurt, but none of us are truly broken.
Yeah. And I just want to say, like, if you are somebody that has maybe an unhealthy attachment style and you do not like that about yourself, and you would like to change it, it's possible. It is completely possible, and it is worth it. All the therapy is worth it. All the actually getting genuine friendships, like not driving yourself nuts because you don't get a text every 5 minutes. Like, it is completely possible. Like you've heard Heather talk about, she's gone through all the attachment styles and she's moved into secure. For me, like, maybe some of you, like, I do joke about being avoidant and an anxious attachment style, but that is actually still an improvement from where I was. Because 10 years ago, I couldn't even say I had an attachment style because I refused to attach to anybody. Like, I did not feel close to anybody. I did not feel love for anybody except for my child. And even that I had to be very careful with because I was terrified of it. But it's worth it to even look at the people that piss me off, but still be like, I love you. It's still worth talking to you, even if I don't like it. It is worth me sitting down and acknowledging, hey, what you're going through right now is anxiety. And the anxiety is happening for this reason. Maybe reach out to them and stop stressing yourself the fuck out and everybody else around you. You know.
Well, also, if you have relationships that stress you out, relationships that are toxic, but you know you can't get rid of them, maybe family relationships that, I don't know. Some families have like financial ties, or some families have legal ties. Like, who knows what your reasoning is. But that doesn't mean you can't set boundaries and restrict their time. Pull your energy back and only give them what you want of your energy. Don't just hand it all over because they're family or their blood or they're helping with my bills or they have legal matters over my head. That doesn't mean you can't set clear boundaries that protect your healthy mindset and honor the relationship by saying, because this relationship is toxic to me, I need to limit it to these terms only until that improves. That way, it gives you some space too to evaluate over time as you have the distance there. Is that relationship worth continuing with the distance, or is the distance showing you exactly how much better off you are without it? I mean, it's just paying attention to the small details. We are running low on time though, so I'm going to speed through some of the characteristics real quick. Breaking into types of relationships, romantic. The characteristics are clingy, fear of abandonment, over-texting, over-calling, stalking apps, etc. Friendships, fear of being left out, FOMO. That's a big one for friendships because you almost feel like part of you is being torn away when your friends leave you out. Over apologizing, Jesus fucking Christ. I still do that to this day. And it's a habit I have not yet been able to break, and I hate it. Not because I do it intentionally. Now it's just subconscious. It's not even that I want to apologize to you. It's just automatically rolls out. And I'm like,
oh yeah.
Parenting. Anxious parenting, projecting onto your kids. That is huge. Like, it is huge, especially for those of us that come from abuse. It is so hard for us not to project our fears onto our kids and to take a step back. It is like the hardest.
Oh, yeah.
We eventually do it. We eventually get there, but it sucks. A good way to practice is look up examples of anxious texts versus secure texts online and practice them when you're in your free time. If you're you're not ready to go to therapy, but you're trying to learn a healthier communication style to shift your attachment. It does work. I know. I did it for a long time. It really did help. The anxious avoidant trap. That's what I was talking about. Anxious and avoidant attachments are often drawn together, and they draw each other into such a toxic cycle that ends up putting both of you out of anxious and attachment and into disorganized. And it often leads to abuse. I'm not even going to be unrealistic. It often leads to abuse because those are the relationships that often lead to domestic violence.
And let's not forget that abuse can take many different forms, not just physical.
Yes, but I want to point that out because those disorganized, explosive push-pull, that's usually where DV lands.
I just said that because a lot of people would be like, well, if they don't hit you, it's not abuse. Remember, there's many forms of abuse.
Financial, mental, emotional, all of that is abuse. Breaking the cycle and moving towards secure, self-soothing tools like pausing before reacting, journaling or voice memoing instead of sending the 10th text, naming the attachment flare-up out loud, like saying it. This is a flare-up of my attachment style. The person didn't do anything to cause me to feel this way. I am having an emotional reaction. What can I do right now? Find some music. Do something. Go find a chore. Something that'll take your mind off of it, even for 5 minutes. Hell, if you need to, excuse my language, but go take a shit. Like, anything that will take your mind off of it for a few minutes. And then once you get through those few minutes, find something else that gives you another few minutes. Take it one step at a time. And if you fail and end up sending the 10th text as well as what your other tools are, that's fine. Don't beat yourself up. Just be like, okay, I did better than yesterday because today I made it 10 minutes without texting the 10th text instead of 1. Yeah. Like, bravo. You deserve a candy bar too. Relationship strategies. Communicating needs clearly instead of hints and tests. People need clear communication in relationships. Don't expect your partner to read your motherfucking mind. They may be your partner, but they are not a goddamn genie.
Yeah, take a note from BDSM. Communication is key.
Yeah. And consent as well. BDSM takes that, and they mean it in the sexual connotation. But I mean, like, in everything.
Yeah.
Like, if your partner is like melting down, don't just come over and wrap your arms around them thinking it's okay, because some people may have trauma, and when you do that, they freak out, and then you think you're the bad person when really that person just can't be touched in a moment of high stress.
Yeah.
It's all about communication. Choosing partners who can reassure you. If you're used to choosing a certain kind of partner, maybe vary out of your comfort zone for a change. Maybe somebody that isn't as attractive as you would normally go after, or maybe somebody that's job is a more prestige job than you would be used to. Maybe a college graduate and you didn't even graduate. Like, don't take your life experience and where you're at in life to think that you aren't worth meeting somebody that could be above your stature, that could fall head over heels in love with you. They can. Anybody could. It's just a matter of finding somebody that's compatible with your love style and willing to work with you and grow with you. That's the most important part. Tie to therapy, EMDR, healing journeys. We've both shared a lot of our personal experience so that you guys know that this isn't just something we're coming at from nowhere. We both are walking this journey actively. There are plenty of moments that you will find in your life if you really just evaluate, take a moment to pause before you respond in any situation, just a brief moment to pause. You will find that you will start noticing where you are secure, where you are anxious, where you're avoidant, where you're disorganized. And you will be able to pull yourself into the one that you want to be. The question I leave you with, what's the most anxious thing you've ever caught yourself doing in a relationship? Feel free to leave it in the comments. Feel free to email us, Snapchat me. We love to hear from you guys. Today, I am sorry again that we were behind because this episode that we had already recorded, it's gone. I don't know what to tell you guys. So, re-recording, I will have it up Wednesday, probably in the wee hours of the morning, because as soon as it's done editing, I'm going to post it. There won't be any delayed times. And I apologized. Next Monday, we will be on time, Monday at 3:30, barring any technical delays. And as always,
rage responsibly.
Rage responsibly. Bye, guys.
We're also available on Spotify. We said what we said, and we're just getting started. Thanks for listening. Now go rage responsibly. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you soon.